All right, 9 minutes past 7. If you were to phone up your energy supplier to check what the cheapest tariff is, you might expect to be told whether you could save money or not.
It doesn't always happen, though, because the consumer group Which made a series of anonymous calls to the 6 biggest power suppliers. It claims none of them consistently offered the best rates. One, Southern Electric, only mentioned its cheapest deal 3 times out of 12.
So we asked some energy consumers whether they thought their suppliers were really on their side.
I don't trust any of them, and I think those that are looking after the watch for it, they're not looking after it properly. I think we're just being ripped off everywhere.
You never seem to know what the price is because you settle on one price and then by the next year it's gone up again.
And if they had a cheaper price, do you trust them to tell you about it?
No.
When I've gone into it in detail myself, they're not able to explain or calculate my exact situation.
Well, Radio 4 Money Boxes. Paul Lewis has been looking into the story and joins us now. Morning, Paul.
Hello, Bill.
It's more complicated than trying to play Scrabble live on television, this, isn't it?
Much more complicated,
Yes.
and a lot more at stake, I have to say, too. The results are quite extraordinary. I mean, EDF, only 5 out of 12 calls were given the cheapest tariff. Southern Energy, 3 out of 12. British Gas and Npower did better with 10 out of 12. But, you know, I sort of have a theory about this. That they're not deliberately trying to not give people the right information. There are 10,000 energy tariffs shared between the 6 big companies. 10,000, that's more than 1,500 each. Why? And it's difficult for us. I think it's difficult for the people in the call centres to know what's the cheapest tariff for you.
Why should it be so difficult? Surely you just type in the requirements. You're a family of 5, you have a bath once a day, or a shower, you know.
Well, it should be that simple, and there's a lot of concern in the industry that the tariffs are too complicated. British Gas has been telling us after this research that they are now working on simplifying their tariffs, and Ofgem, the regulator, is also saying that, you know, as we heard in the report earlier, that these companies might actually be breaching their licence conditions by not knowing which is the cheapest. And so they're going to have to sort it out to make, I mean, you might have a choice of 5 or 6 tariffs, but, you know, more than 1,500 each company is just daft.
Well, it reminds me, it used to be like that with rail fares, didn't it? And then the regulator came in and said, also, right,
yes.
here's what you're going to do, and it became much, much simpler.
Well, it became
simpler,
simpler, but it's not that simple. I'm booking train tickets
well,
the other day.
It's better than it was.
But it is. I think they may well have to do that at some point, yes. And, you know, some of the smaller companies, Ebico and OVO, which you don't often hear about, they have much, much simpler tariffs, just a few, a handful. Now, they may not be cheaper always for everybody, but they are at least simpler, and I think that's the model the big ones could adopt. And it's like so many things in life now. They say, oh, it's all about customer choice. No, it's not. It's about confusing us so we make the wrong choice and give them more money than we need to.
Yes, if we're not informed correctly, we don't know what choices to take.
Yes, that's
viewers will
right.
be thinking to themselves this morning, hang on, energy companies are making a lot of money. At the moment, things are very, very tight.
Yes.
It could make a difference of hundreds of pounds switching to the right tariff.
Oh, it can certainly, on average, it can be a couple of £100 or more for a family, as you say, with 4 people in it, easily. So it is important. And I suppose my tip is, I mean, I was on here a couple of weeks ago saying, ring your supplier, see if there's a cheaper tariff. Now it seems it may not always work. Why not ring them twice? And see if you get the same answer. If you get the same answer, well, maybe it is the right answer. And even when you've done that, go to one of the online sites that has the consumer focus confidence code on it and put in your details. Maybe a different supplier is better for you. And if you don't have access to easy access to a computer, you can phone these comparison sites and they will give you the information.
To be honest, you've got to feel sorry in a sense for the call centre staff, haven't you?
Yes.
You know, because it's not an easy job, and to go and get people like you calling up several times with the same question.
People like me, I'm the politest person in the world. But you're absolutely right. I mean, I don't know the details, but call centre staff typically are not enormously well paid. One of the companies did admit there were some training issues. Maybe they should have trained them a bit better. Yes, they certainly should. And the situation is very, very complicated. And I know, because I have switched my supplier by going online, it takes quite a while to put in all the details. And call centre staff have to get through the calls. And even if they've got the computer access there to put in your details, they may well not come up with the best answer. And not least because British Gas pointed out, cheapest isn't always best. Some people actually don't want to pay by direct debit because they may not have enough money in their account all the time. They want paper bills. All those things cost a bit more. Right. So cheapest may not always be best.
But a simpler structure would work for everybody.
A simpler structure would help all of us. You know, I was thinking supermarkets, they now say, we will match the lowest price. You never hear that from the energy companies, do you? It's more, oh, we've got 1,000 tariffs, you know, and you might get the best, you might not. I think there's a big need for huge simplification, and it's the regulator's job to do it if the energy companies won't.
All right.
Okay.
Paul, thanks very
Paul.
much. Thank you.
Quick look at the time now. It's coming up to 7:15. Coming up on the programme later. We're test driving cars of the future. They're so